Dr. Sanderson here. Welcome to our course, Communication in Sports Organizations. I'm really excited to get our course underway and to get going. Communication, as many of you probably know, is something that's instrumental in many organizations, but especially those in sport. So if we think about, messaging and communication and all the different ways that plays out in the sports organization, from media to their social media content to handling public relations to uh, their community relations efforts, and then also just their marketing, interacting with fans and season ticket holders, and how do you, prevent or manage crisis situations that occur. So communication really plays a huge part in the organizational structure, management, and governance of sports organizations. And we'll look at a variety of those topics in the course. So again, just really excited to get our course underway. Our first unit is going to cover ethics. And sport is an industry that sees a lot of ethical issues within it. So if you just think about things like doping in cycling, for example, with someone like Lance Armstrong, or the doping that occurred in Major League Baseball, in the 90s. And the ways in which Major League Baseball kind of covered that up and didn't really perhaps do as much as they should. And then they, of course, paid for that, in the early part of the 2000s, where they were having to go before Congress and those sorts of things. Gambling is an ethical issue that we see in sport. Also, one that we're seeing talked about a lot right now is the amateurism model in intercollegiate athletics. And then just also there's kind of just what we might term day-to-day things or just issues that occur within organizations, and how they choose to handle them reflects ethics in a sense. So, during the course, we'll look at some sports organizations that had some things happen, and for whatever reason, they decided not to be real transparent about it. And then, of course, when it became a news story and kind of blew up, they were having to do a lot of public relations work and a lot of retroactive kind of work to minimize the damage to their brand and reputation. So, there's kind of two parts of ethics. I think really one is the ethical issue itself. And then the second part would be, well, how do you then choose to handle the situation? Do you address it, and are you transparent about it? Or, we might say, do you own it? Or do you try and cover it up and deny it? If we think about, again, going back to someone like Lance Armstrong or someone like Mark McGwire, who, they denied, and then all of a sudden they said, yep, I did in fact use performance enhancing drugs. And so, one thing we have to kind of think about is then, well, is that better, or is it better to just own something initially, even if there's a lot of short-term kind of damage that comes as a result of that? So, really curious to kind of see your thoughts on ethics and ethical issues in sports organizations. One thing we have to remember about ethics is that it varies. So what one person feels is ethical may not be what another person feels is ethical. And that, again, when you're a leader or you're a decision maker, your ethics kind of are the ones that dictate what the organization's ethics are. So looking forward to what you have to say on ethics in this unit. You'll have an introduction discussion forum in this unit where you essentially introduce yourself to the class. And then I'm going to ask you in the discussion forum for Unit 1 to go find a news article that covers an ethical issue in sports and summarize that and kind of talk through it for us. So your initial posts on both forums will be due by Sunday, July 2nd. And your 2 response posts to each forum will be due by Thursday, July 5th. So happy 4th as well. And look forward to getting the course underway. And please let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.